Welcome to this video. My name is Christian from BM Premiere, and it's time to explore everything that happened in the finale and finally understand the events of Raymond Clark and who killed the scientist. Even though it was not the ending I wanted, it really gave us a perspective into Navarro and Danvers. After watching the episode, I have one question, and it was, are they one person or are they connected? Moving into this episode, they're guided by the suspect Raymond Clark and discovering where he is. Our detectives go into revelation and darkness, both literal and figurative. According to a guild ravaged, Annie infiltrated the research base to uncover a conspiracy between the scientists and mining company leadership. When Annie discovered the team falsifying data to enable more invasive excavation of precious ice core samples, the elite scientist Lung reacted with savage fury at seeing his life work destroyed. In a snap decision, he brutally murdered Annie as the group watched, paralyzed by fear and loyalty, with Raymond Clark ending Annie's life at the end. The Silver Sky Head covered up the slain by hiding Annie remains and silencing all true brides and threats. This done by the chief, and my question is what's gonna happen with Silver Sky, because nothing happened to the person that was doing this that we saw in the previous episodes. But moving into the Eternal Night in December 31st, where the Eternal Night has come to a close in Ennis, Alaska. Now moving to the ending, we'll analyze the connections between Danvers and Navarro and what might have caused Navarro to vanish. I have theories for all of this and more, but before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe and let me know your thoughts on this cryptic conclusion in the comments below. While Raymond Clark claims he had nothing to do with the killing of his lover Annie, he is still part of it, but he argues that it was for the greater good, that the DNA discoveries they could unlock may have saved countless lives and hence justify the means type defense. Yet this DNA breakthrough came at the cost of Annie's life, the contamination of Annie's land and people, and the deception and violence committed thereafter to bury the truth. Raymond is likely still hiding information to cover up himself. As we know later, Raymond did a confession video confirming everything, so I imagine Silver Sky is gonna be affected. Now in this episode, they are trapped in the abandoned ice station where we get a connection between these two detectives. In a moment of desperation as they're there, Navarro reveals intimate details of her past, including the detail of her mother peeling oranges in one long strip. This echoes the significance of oranges earlier in the season. Also, Danvers later mimics this orange peeling motion with a knife, creating the spiral symbol we have seen all season, so there's some mystical force to all of it. Does this imply a deeper connection between these two women? But wait, there's more. Navarro also discussed her sister Julia's affliction with mental illness. She disclosed how their mother used to suffer from similar issues before she died. Another connection I find intriguing is that Danvers is wearing the same cross necklace that appeared in Navarro's car previously. Are these women cosmically bound by their trauma, or are they the same person? That's something that I was thinking about, but the layers of weird symbolism in this suggest Danvers and Navarro share a mysterious link that transcends rational explanation. From shared white bears to vision to talisman like the cross necklace, the pair seems almost interconnected. Whether supernatural or psychosomatic, the bizarre only further obscures the boundary between these two detectives. Until neither can tell where one ends and the other begins, they find themselves fused together by the endless darkness and extreme isolation. After falling into the frozen waters later, Danvers finds herself orderly alone, slowly dying from the extreme cold water as hypothermia sets in. After being saved by Navarro, she begins to hallucinate visions from her past, especially the traumatic memory of her young son Holden. We have seen hints and clips of this event before, but now Danvers graphically relives the gut-wrenching moments. This heartbreaking scene captured her ultimate failure as a mother to save her own child, yet Danvers seems to find an odd sense of long-awaited release. I can finally be free. almost welcoming the chance to let go of her enduring pain and guilt and pretty much die. In this regard, she mirrors Navarro, who earlier voiced feeling trapped, holding the hatch on her own traumatic memories for so long. Like soldiers who have seen too much horror, both women are desperate for salvation from the suffering of relived emotion. And so they're confronting long buried trauma, if only to reach the final surrender. For Danvers and Navarro, the side effects of this endless icy night allow them to unlock repressive compartments in their psyche and achieve a measure of peace and closure. Whether either find redemption or even survive hardly matters at this point. The twisted pursuit has led them back to a foundational trauma and force a reconciliation on their own terms. Like so much in Ennis, meaning is ultimately personal, resolution is subjective. But make no mistake, there will be a reckoning at the bitter end. The final heart-pounding act suggests a sinister supernatural force was responsible for the death of the research team. According to them, lead scientist Long and his team, in a way we can see that the lead scientist and his team made a deal with the devil, or in this case, the entity.
It's just a story.
Allowing the mining company to contaminate the groundwater to accelerate their excavation of precious ice core samples. The more toxic chemicals underground, the faster they could access the treasure of DNA. It seems that this scientist didn't care about slowly poisoning the land and aquatic life or deceiving the entire town as long as they could unlock secrets for fame and glory. This is when we can see how, in a way, the land got revenge. According to local legends, and this when Danvers and Navarro discover what really happened, when according to local legends, this dark presence or white presence inhabited the endless Arctic night since time immemorial and immortal, when we can see how this formless, hollow-eyed shadow that drives the night pretty much consumes light and hope and life itself. So when Annie discovered what really happened, we can see how the woman got revenge on the man, taking them to the ice cold night where they froze. We can see how maybe that they got froze by this entity, and where Black Annis explained and everything that happened with this group of women collectively enacted revenge on the man after Annie's dead and trapped them in the icy nightmare. So this is the same entity that reached for Navarro. Looking back over these scenes with Liz and Navarro confronting Beatrice and Blair, the theory makes symbolic sense. When directly asked if they were responsible for killing the scientists, she replied,
The men? Honey, they did it to themselves.
"You killed the men, honey. They did it to themselves. When they dug in her home in the ice, when they killed her daughter in there, they woke her up." So reading this suggests that her refers to a powerful female spirit or deity that the woman channeled, which awoke when the men killed Annie. In a way, the woman then evoked this goddess figure to punish the scientists, using its mystic power to manipulate the elements, drawing the men out into the ice, where they ultimately froze to death. It's just a story, implying that the woman simply created a narrative framing to explain the men's demise, making it their own orchestration of revenge. This connects to the show's themes of trauma and violence. Okay, so what happens at the end and what is the meaning of this? As we see Navarro going into the Arctic landscape, where we can see that maybe she accepts this entity and now she becomes the same ghostly version, which allows her to be anywhere. And the haunting final scene implies that she indeed finds what she came looking for in the endless night of Alaska, but do not return in the flesh. As Detective Liz Danvers is told when asked of Navarro's fate, some people come here looking for something, sometimes they find it. After becoming immersed in the darkness of the mysteries in Ennis, Navarro retreated alone into the remote Arctic mountains. She shed her material form behind, transcending the burden of worldly trauma and responsibilities. What emerged and descended from the blank peaks was only her spirit, purified but eternally bound to the land she's now with. We can see her that she maybe is alive or dead, but doesn't matter because for her, her spirit is alive. Also, Navarro plays a symbolic token of their fractured past with Danvers, the one-eyed stuffed bear, so her detached essence can occupy that missing space by her side. She's both there and not there, besides Danvers. Also, something that we see later that I did not discuss is how we see Peter and him returning with his dad, and also this is a symbolic meaning as well, where he is pretty much creating the grave for his dad, so he's destroying that traumatic childhood past, in my opinion. As we know, his dad punched him in episode 2, so we know that maybe when he was a little kid, he had a lot of trauma as well, and in this way he's releasing all of that. When Peter then returns home to his wife Kayla, he's ready to fully embrace his role as an emotionally available father, ready to break the cycle. But anyways, that's the breakdown and ending explaining of this episode and the show itself. It was good. I enjoyed it. I think it has a lot of meaning and symbolism. It's not for everyone in my opinion, but hey, it's one of those shows that you watch, you enjoy it, you like it, and then you move on. But what are your thoughts? Leave in the comments below. My name is Christian from Being From Here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye one.